Welcome back to the Villain Report, where kneecaps get bitten, narratives get shredded, and the Detroit 313 Sports, well, they get the spotlight that they deserve. I am your host, the villain. The 313 villain, Russell Wayne, the voice of vengeance, the mouth of the Motor City Madness, and your unapologetic villain of the 313. And in today's episode, we're going to do a little season preview. This episode is brought to you by Fanatics. If you're rocking with the 313, if you bleed Honolulu blue, then you need to gear up like the real one. Over at Fanatics, our official merch partner. I'm talking Lions jerseys, blackout hoodies, throwback Tigers gear, Red Wings drip that's so icy it should come with a Zamboni. So here's what you do. You click this link in the description right here that I just threw in the comments. You click that link, you can save up to 25% off of your order from our affiliate marketing partners over at fanatics.com. So welcome one, welcome all to the Lions Villain Report. What's going on, everybody? It's faith, family, and then football in that order. We use football to spend time with our family. We don't let football use us. Right there. You can find the Villain Squad. Connect with us. The Grit. We're on YouTube. The Villains on Facebook with over 76,000 people, approaching 77,000. I invite you to come to our YouTube page right here. Help us get over 1,000 on there. We need like 30 people. Thank you for those that support the Villain Squad page. So it's here. It's finally here. It's finally here. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Rick C up in the house. That's right. It's been a while. Doe Soldiers up in the house. The Central Scrutinizers up in the house. I do. I like that, Kirk. Davey's in the house. I do. I'm ready to talk some football. I'm ready to be into the grind of the season. I got my bling, and I'm ready to go. So in the season preview, let's talk a little bit about the Goffense. You want to talk a little bit about Goffense? I want to talk a little bit about Goffense. Now, Goff's got some weapons. He's got some weapons, and the biggest question, I think, comes on the offensive line, right? All pro, and future Hall of Famer Frank Ragnow retires from the NFL. You know, and you got Kevin Zeitler, who played very well. He played very, very well last year. So you have Graham Glasgow, who had probably a career worst year last year. You're counting on him. And Kevin Zeitler having a great year last year. And then future Hall of Famer Frank Ragnow retires. And you have some different things going on in there. So the preview of the offense is, can those new guys do it? You know, Graham Glasgow as a center, he's undefeated as far as being a Lion. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you got him doing the calls in the middle. They kept a familiar face doing all of the calls. He's got chemistry with Goff already. And then replacing Kevin Zeitler is rookie Tate Ratledge. And then on the left side, you got second-year player Christian Mahogany. And then you have the best offensive line coach in the NFL in Hank Fraley putting that all together. So since the second day of camp or second week of camp, they've had this combination of these three. Glasgow in the middle, Tate Ratledge to the right, Christian Mahogany to the left. And that seems to be working okay as far as what they say. From what Dan Campbell says. And there's a lot of room to grow right there. So the way I believe in that is people who play next to Penei Sewell tend to play pretty well. Graham Glasgow played next to Penei Sewell in 2023 and had a career year. And then last year, you got Kevin Zeitler there. And Zeitler also had a career year, grading out at 86.5 and 87.2 is one of his best run blocking years of his career, next to Penei Sewell. So why do I say that? Is Tate Ratledge, the rookie, is more athletic and more gifted than either one of those two. Athletic freak. Check out the Raz, okay? Tate Ratledge. So I think that position is going to be upgraded. Playing next to Sewell. I think that right side is going to be something else. It's going to be something to watch, and I think that you're going to want to run to that side when it's all said and done. With Tate Ratledge, the enforcer, the interminator, the mullidator, running people out of the way. So as far as that offensive line goes, you still got Penei Sewell sitting right there, and I think Tate Ratledge is going to be a really, really good player. And Mahogany is having himself a camp, had himself a camp, and I think that he's going to be definitely an upgrade on that left-hand side over what Glasgow did in there last year. So, but in the middle, you can't replace Frank. So that it's going to have to be compensated with. But I think overall you can get that offensive line to be right where it was with great coaching and everything in there. So what are your thoughts on that? Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. The Sunday game matchup has the Doe Soldier worried. What you worried about? You worried about Micah Parsons? The thing is, it's like good competition is good competition. Like, if the Lions want to win the Super Bowl, which we want to win a Super Bowl, okay? You can't go into these games scared, and because they're not scared. At the end of the day, it's a player. It's a good player. It's hard to go into Lambeau and win. And we're going to get a good shot from them. I mean, I would hope so. I would hope that Green Bay comes to play. We've kicked your ass for the last 3 years, and you're not used to that. Green Bay's not used to Detroit kicking their ass. Because Green Bay's owned the Lions for 30 years, 50 years, all the way through the Super Bowl era. This is weird. So, Don't be scared about it. You know, if you want to win the Super Bowl, you got to beat great players. You have to. It's impossible. You're not going to avoid going through great players. You have to have great players. You have to go through great players. Micah Parsons. He's a great player. That's fine. But if you want to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to beat, you know, Josh Allen, or you're going to have to beat Lamar Jackson. You're going to have to beat a Nick Bosa. You know, you're going to have to beat good players. And if you're one of the good teams, you shouldn't be worried about beating good players. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that helps, though. But I'm here for you. Rick C's in the house. We got Hank. Good morning, Chad. That's fine. I mean, I got you. When it comes to Micah, it's the Gary and Parsons duo. Yeah, I think that Micah Parsons is definitely gonna make that a lot harder. I mean, that's one of the best pass rushing duos in the NFL. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. They went out. They mortgaged the future. They want to bring in this guy. They think that Micah Parsons is going to push them over the edge. But here's the thing, is I think that Micah and Gary are going to wreck a lot of teams. A lot of teams. But we have Taylor Decker and we have Penei Sewell. And honestly, that's exciting. You know, when you want to talk about good competition, I mean, we get to see Parsons versus Sewell twice a year now. But, you know, Doe, we get to see that matchup twice a year now. Parsons versus Sewell. You know, a lot of people think that, well, the Lions should have drafted Parsons instead of Sewell. And a lot of people are like, no, we like Sewell. Sewell's going to get a gold jacket someday. He's that good. So, does Parsons make the Packers better? Sure. But he's got to go through Penei Sewell. Good luck. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Chad. My link from YouTube isn't working? What? Let me see. The YouTube page. Okay. Let me see. Maybe I did do that wrong. I'm going to try this again. Chad, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Let's try it again. Right there for the YouTube page. See if that works right there. I appreciate that, Chad, for pointing that out. Making sure that my links work. Trying to get the YouTube link to work for you guys so you guys can subscribe and help the villain get over 1,000. I mean, I admit that I was working on the page at 313 Villain Squad. Okay, yes. I had that wrong, Chad. Thank you for pointing that out. I really do appreciate that. Let me know if that works again, Chad. But we're talking about this Goffense. And I think that the Goffense is going to be just fine. I think we're going to be able to run the football. I think we're going to be able to run the football against anybody. Still popping that air, huh? Man. It's at 313 Villain Squad if we can get that going. youtube.com subscribe to the villain. Maybe that's an error through my Facebook posted link. Chad, let me get that in there. Now, did this new one work? Let's try this again. One last time, and then I have to continue with the show. I'll have to, I guess I'll punt, try to figure it out. But that should be it. Let me know if that works. But I think the offense is going to be just fine because, these guys have been together. And especially with these skill positions, I'm really, really excited about Isaac Tesla. Because they traded Tim Patrick and opened up that, that 30, 40 targets right there for a rookie. And a third wide receiver can get brought along, in a way a rookie should be brought along, if you know what I mean. There's so much pressure usually put on rookies to produce right away. And there's not that pressure on Tesla to produce because he's just like a kid in a candy store, You just got drafted to the NFL, and here's your situation. Got a stellar offensive line with an awesome running game. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, and Jameson Williams, all just, that everybody's worried about those guys. You have to be. Amon-Ra St. Brown is always open. You can try to bracket him or do whatever. You're going to have to compensate for Jameson Williams' speed over the top. You gotta compensate for if Sam Laporta is going to go out into a route. You have to compensate for Amon-Ra. You have to compensate for, do I have enough people in the box to try to stop Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield? And you got all these different moving parts right there. And here's this rookie that's just got to sit in there. He may be the fifth option. He's not going to catch that many balls this year. But I think the ones that he is going to catch are going to be long, because he's going to be running. You're going to put your best corner on the two wide receivers. Your best linebacker is going to go on Sam Laporta. Go with me here. And then Isaac Tesla, if he goes out there, for one, he's a demon in blocking in the run game. But, all right, I give up on it, Chad. I give up on it. I don't know. If it's still popping that air, that stinks. But Chad threw the other one in the I appreciate you, Chad. But having Tim Patrick be traded opened up that spot. And the thing is you may have Isaac Tesla just running across the middle wide open, because you're going to use resources to stop the other big plays from happening, because you can't let Jameson Williams run behind you. So that's going to draw everybody off of the line of scrimmage. At least the safety is going to have to bracket that speed over top and make sure that he's just not running free. It's already a better situation for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta eating in the middle. And right here, here's a great point by Central Scrutinizer. Green Bay's secondary is suspect. How can they cover all the playmakers on offense? How can anybody do it? Even if they had great secondary players, which they don't. The Green Bay secondary is suspect. And that's why I thought it was weird for them to be the ones to try to go after Parsons and, and mortgage part of that future. I mean, they got a lot of young players, but they have a suspect back end. When it came to their draft, it was weird because they had Aaron Rodgers here all of those years, and they would never draft a wide receiver in the first round. It seemed like every year they needed a wide receiver, they drafted a cornerback. And this year, Jair Alexander gone. Like they need a big hole there in their secondary. They draft a wide receiver in the first round. So, I don't know. They believe in converting wide receivers to cornerbacks. We'll have to see if that works out for them. But I don't know if those guys are going to be able to cover our guys. No matter how fast Micah Parsons could get in there. One of the strengths of the Lions offense is Jared Goff gets rid of the ball fast. One of the fastest get rid of the ball quarterbacks in the NFL. That's how you do that. That's one way to neutralize a pass rush. Getting rid of the ball in 2 seconds. It don't matter how. Those are the type of teams that do well against the Lions. That's how you neutralize Aiden Hutchinson. Well, you got to get rid of the ball fast because he's going to get in there fast. Yeah, if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Chad threw up the link in there. So I was wondering, I kept on posting it for a while, and nobody was subscribing. I was like, man, does everybody hate me? But now I know that it was a messed up link. So that might have to be a call to restream. Or maybe I will have to start using a different service, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, this is the Lion Villain Report right here. I am your host, Russell Wayne, the season preview. That's what we're doing today. Appreciate y'all jumping on here with me today. This episode is brought to you by Fanatics. So I hope that link works. You can get that beautiful Lions hoodie right there if you want to gear up in the right way. We're talking Lions jerseys, blackout hoodies, throwback Tigers gear, and Red Wings drip so icy it should come with a Zamboni. So here's what you do. You click the link in the description, hit that pinned comment, and use code. Get saved up to 25% off of your order. The Villain don't do knockoffs. We do official. We do Fanatics. Get yours. So I appreciate everybody taking their time to jump in here for the season preview. How far do you think that the Lions can go this year? Is this the year, the Super Bowl? Thunder and lightning? No. Sonic and Knuckles, Gibbs and Monty. I threw up a post. I'm taking a little bit of crap about it, but can Jahmyr Gibbs break the rushing record? And I never really thought that could happen. But then when you really think about 17 games and it's 124 yards a game to break the all-time record, it's like that. It seems like that's attainable when you break it down like that, and having an extra game. Does that make it that record will probably get broken sooner rather than later. There's been a couple close ones, but I don't want to talk about just rush yards, right? I want to talk about all-purpose yards for Jahmyr Gibbs. So 2,100 yards from scrimmage, I think, is doable. So that's the question I want to pose to you out there, because I really believe that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to establish himself as the best running back in the NFL this year. Sorry, Saquon. It's the Jahmyr Gibbs show now. And I believe that. But I think it's going to be in a different way. I mean, a little bit different, because they're going to give Barkley like the workhorse stuff. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get used different. That's why I don't think he would ever break the rushing record and get 2,100 just all rush yards. But all-purpose yards, when you're talking about receiving and getting rush yards, I think 2,100 yards is gettable. I think he'll have that. I think he's going to get that 2,100 all-purpose yards. That's passing and rush yards together. So let me know that in the comments. I mean, type Y for yes, N for no. If you think Jahmyr Gibbs will get 2,100, that's 2,100 yards, all-purpose, receiving, and rushing yards. You know, that's one of the reasons I don't think that the Lions are going to step backwards because of the coordinators. We got the players, guys. It's the players. It's been about the players. We got a rising defense. I think that this defense is going to shock some people this year. And why would I mean, that sounds cliche, right? Oh, the defense is going to shock some people. But it's like, you look where the strength of our defense is and where we were injured last year. And the Lions were still able to win 15 games. Even though you got guys coming off the street. You know, the last time that we played Green Bay, I mean, we pulled out a couple cab drivers, got them ready to play in a week, and they still beat the Green Bay Packers. And this team that is coming this year under Kelvin Shepard, this aggressive play caller, and you can tell he's going to be aggressive. You're adding Aiden Hutchinson. You're adding DJ Reed. You're adding Derek Barnes. You're re-adding Terrion Arnold. I'm just thinking of the people that weren't there at the end of the season. And they're adding all of these great players in the middle. You got an ascending Jack Campbell. You got an all-pro safety. Oh, another Pro Bowl safety. I mean, this defense is going to surprise some people. With the strength being the secondary, you're talking sticky man-to-man coverage with Aiden Hutchinson pissed off and ready. You know, if we're talking about this defense, well, what about the pass rusher opposite of Aiden Hutchinson? What have you done? The other pass rusher, his job isn't to get sacks. His job is to crush the can. If you've seen some of the defensive line shows out, Chris Long talks about it, crushing the can. Sometimes running behind the quarterback isn't the best thing to do because you give them escape lanes. It's important that that other defensive end, and it's something that Marcus Davenport does well, which is win with power and push the pocket in. You want to beat a mobile quarterback, you have to crush the can. And I think that the defensive line is built around getting Aiden Hutchinson opportunities to get sacks and letting him clean it up. You don't need some dude you don't have to have a guy that has double-digit sacks on the other side of Hutchinson. I do believe that the second leader in sacks on this team, and I've said it on here before, is going to be Derek Barnes from the linebacker position, an attacking linebacker. That's what they wanted to do with him last year. They want to crush the can with their 3 defensive linemen in the middle, let Aiden Hutchinson roam free, and then you have, and then attack like a 3-4 with Derek Barnes. So, what do you think of that opinion right there? Do you think that it's possible that Derek Barnes could be the second leader in sacks behind Aiden Hutchinson? Give me a Y for yes and an N for no on that one. I appreciate you participating, Rick. You're such a good example for all of the rest of them. Central Scrutinizer talking about Grant Stewart. What a great pickup. What a great pickup. Grant Stewart was named as the special teams captain. That's a great point right there, Central. The Stewart pickup. A guy that comes in, and it's like the most attractive thing he said for this Lions team, why he wanted to come here was the opportunity. Like, because we give people the same opportunity. Like, if you win your spot, you get your spot. And that's what I love about the whole makeup of our team. So the question is, Central, the question was, do you believe, in my opinion, when it comes to the pass rusher opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, I believe that the second leader in sacks on the Detroit Lions is going to be Derek Barnes. Would you agree with that? Y for yes, N for no. Thank you, Davey, and thank you, Rick, for participating. And I want to welcome any of the new viewers out there. My name is Russell Wayne. I am the 313 Villain, and this is the Villain Report. I'm going to be live Monday through Saturday from here on out, for the most part, because it's season time. I mean, I am the 313 Villain. I do support the Tigers. I do support the Red Wings and the Pistons, but football is my love. That's the one. That's the one. And as much as I love my football, it's faith, family, and then football. I got my priorities right. I use football. I don't let football use me. Don't let it turn you into an ugly person. Shake off those losses. We're Lions fans. We're used to it. We're spoiled over the last couple years here with Dan Campbell. Brad Holmes bringing in all this talent. Love the talent. Rick C agrees with me. Shep's going to be having Barnes do a lot more pass rushing. Like, when I think of how they're setting this defense up. You got so many of these guys that can play multiple. So you got a guy like Brian Branch, take for instance, right? You know, he's listed as the safety, isn't he? But that doesn't mean that he's not going to take, 2 or 3 linebacker snaps a game. Doesn't mean that he's not going to take 2 slot corner snaps in the game. It doesn't mean that he is slotted just to stay right there. That's it. Brian Branch is the safety. That's it. That's all you do is the safety. No. All of our guys can play in that multiple. You take a guy, DJ Reed is the same thing. Only he can play outside corner. He can play slot corner. You can line them up anywhere. And the thing is when you have them lined up, that means that you can make every one of your defenses look exactly the same. When you do all your little motions to try to figure out if you're in zone or if you're in man, you ain't gonna get no looks out of us, because all of our guys will know where to go. Oh, I had to play linebacker on this play. Oh, I had to play slot corner on this play. They all understand the communications, and they all play multiple. When you talk about our depth at all the positions, when you think about it, Stewart is a depth piece. He can play linebacker. He's good against the run. Cunningham, that's a good depth piece. We got depth pieces that could go and start on other teams. They could. Stewart probably could have went and got a starting job. He chose to come here and play a role on a Super Bowl contending team. So as it comes for the preview of this defense, I'm just excited. I am excited to see Jack Campbell right in the middle of that defense. It's Captain Jack. It's Captain Jack, baby. He's calling all of the shots. He'll clean up anything. If Aiden Hutchinson doesn't get to the quarterback, then it's going to be Jack Campbell cleaning it up. I love the depth on the secondary. I mean, hell, I even like the depth on the defensive line. You may not like the players. You may have wanted them to go get Big Z, but we didn't want Big Z. We like the players we got. And those guys do something different. When you think about the new players that they added, you're talking about a skill set. The Davenport type of player, it isn't as much as like it is Davenport. It is that he plays a role that they need. And Muhammad can play that role that Davenport plays, right? I mean, Hutchinson's not coming off the field. Maybe a couple plays a game. But you want to crush the can when it comes with those outside players like a Davenport. Him trying to do a move and get around and try to get a sack isn't as important as him pushing that offensive lineman to surround the quarterback to where he doesn't have escape lanes. That's what that other defensive end is supposed to do, and then set that edge to make sure that you have contain on the run. Something that other thing that Marcus Davenport and Muhammad do really well. We don't need anybody else to be Hutch. Hutch is Hutch. And if they do those things with Talik Williams and DJ Reader in the middle, and they're eating those people up, the more you free up Hutch to be Hutch. He's going to clean up. If he's going to break that Strahan record, it helps having a defense that's designed to get you the sack if the sack is there. And I trust Aiden Hutchinson to get that sack if he's given the opportunity now. So let's see. We've got Paul Jones in the house. Johnny Gaz, what's up, buddy? Now that you're in here, you can that we know. I bet Johnny Gaz doing his show tonight at 9:30 p.m. I'll be on here with you. I dig it. My two for Tuesday. I get a morning show and an evening show. How you like that? Thanks, Kirk. I do like that. I like that. But yeah, join us tonight. Me and Johnny. Boom. All right. All right. Oh. Paul Jones says, turns out one piece to win the division championship for Green Bay already day to day with 3 separated backbones. I heard they were going to give him like a shot so he could play in the game. No, it's to me, that you got to prove to me that trade's going to work out. You mortgaged your future and you're just counting on him, being available, and you're counting on him not to talk trash about Jordan Love when he throws interceptions on his podcast. As much as, Jerry Jones gets a lot of beef. I mean, players were openly mad at what Micah Parsons was doing in Dallas. He's going after players, and criticizing and stuff. I mean, whatever. I mean, you got to have thick skin in the NFL. You can't really worry about what anybody else says or anything like that. But, if he does that in Green Bay, is that going to shake their locker room? And you spend $47 million a year on that. And he has all the talent in the world. He has, Hall of Fame talent. It remains to be seen if that's going to play out like that. But Green Bay got themselves a talented player, but I ain't scared of that. I mean, I'm scared of that, but Penei Sewell ain't scared of that. Honestly, it's like, after hearing, Dan Campbell talk about it on his press conference, it's like, this is what it's all about, man. The best versus the best. You think Penei Sewell cares? It's just a different defensive end to prepare for. I mean, Sewell owns Parsons. So big deal. You got a guy that my guy can block. Just let Penei Sewell run downhill and hand David Montgomery the ball. What are we talking about here? I'll be surprised if the Lions don't go in here and make a statement against this Green Bay Packer team. They've been listening to everybody all season talk about how they're going to take this huge step back because of the coordinators. And it's like, you don't even look at the players at all. You don't look at the players at all. You think that not having Ben Johnson is going to make Amon-Ra St. Brown all of a sudden forget how to catch the football? You think that not having Ben Johnson is going to make all of a sudden Jahmyr Gibbs is going to forget how to run the football? I mean, one of the blessings that Ben Johnson had while he was here was he could call plays, and because our offensive line and players were so good that anything that he would call would work. I get the genius thing. That's why you got a head coaching job. But be careful to give all of the credit to Ben Johnson. Players still had to go out and make those plays. And when you have a guy like Penei Sewell destroying people and doing the things that he does, he makes your play work. Halfback dive. Ooh, that's brilliant, Ben. I mean, you can make regular plays work with a guy like Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow and the offensive line that Hank Fraley coaches. Players play the game. Rick C, there you go. So if you want to be scared, that's fine. I mean, what fun is that, though? What fun is overanalyzing and being the guy that's like, oh, I told you. That's not. I mean, that's cowardice. What, you gonna say you told me I didn't? 31 teams don't win the Super Bowl every year. So when you're like, oh, I don't know, that's really just saying, oh, I'm just gonna bet on the 31, not the one. It doesn't take any courage to be the one that called the criticism. There's no courage in that. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your team is, 15-2. People are still going to say, well, what happened in the playoffs? You got to win the Super Bowl. You got to win the Super Bowl in order for all of those things to win. And if your goal is to win the Super Bowl and your team's good enough to win the Super Bowl, then guys like Micah Parsons shouldn't worry you. I don't care. I don't care how good. I don't care. You know, trade Patrick Mahomes to Green Bay. I don't care. We have to go through Patrick Mahomes then. You have to go through them anyway if you want to get to the Super Bowl. Every good team that has great players on it is going to be there in the end. And you have to play that game. Don't slip on any cheese when you're boarding that hype train. And that's fine. You know what? I have no problem with a Green Bay fan being confident. You know? If the Lions made that trade, everybody would be on here. I mean, it would be a Super Bowl lock, right? You know, even though we mortgaged the whole future, giving away the first round picks, at least for 2 years, you would, that would be insane. Hutchinson and Parsons. I get that. That would be insane. For the Lions, I still don't get why Green Bay did it. They're not even close to being a player away. I want Hutchinson to get all the sacks. I hope I'm right about that, the way that we're going to play this defense. Where the defense is designed to give Hutchinson the look. So I got a special announcement for you for tomorrow. I have Sports Illustrated's John Macaroon is going to spend 15 minutes with me tomorrow. I get 15 minutes of fame with John Macaroon, the doc. Going to come in and give his diagnosis. So make sure that you join me tomorrow. And I'm going to talk to the doc. I got a couple questions I want to ask the doc. And if you have a question for the doc, you can go ahead and throw it into the comments, and I'll make sure that I'll at least take it into consideration to ask him tomorrow while I have my 15 minutes. But yeah, join me tomorrow morning, as I bring in the doc, John Macaroon from Sports Illustrated writer. He's like a real guy. He actually gets to talk to Dan Campbell. I'm just a fan. Paul Jones up in the house. If we had traded for Micah, I would question Brad and Dan. Okay, Rick doesn't like but that's the thing. But there would be a pocket of the fan base, even if you questioned Brad and Dan. I mean, but that's on there's a whole other side of that, though, Rick. I feel I would question Brad and Dan if it costed us one of our other players. I was arguing with some Bears and Packer fans about that. I don't have any players on my defense that I'd be willing to give up for Micah Parsons. And then you're talking about draft picks on top of that. You know, if it was just, you know, draft picks, you know, 2 firsts and a 3rd round pick for Micah Parsons and the Lions made it happen, I would be excited about that. Now, the extension, gosh, man, that's too much, man. Micah Parsons is making more money than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if you're a Packer fan, you're excited to have Micah Parsons? Are you going to be excited to have Micah Parsons week 8? I mean, what if they're right about the bone thing and then you don't even have him? So, basically, your trade, there's a possibility that Micah Parsons might not even play in this game. Could you imagine that? They trade, spend $47 million a year, and here you get into, week 1, Lions versus... And then Micah Parsons doesn't even play, and you're minus Kenny Clark. That would be like the worst case scenario for week 1 for the Packers. And that's actually possible. Yeah, Greg, I agree with you, dude. Rick says he's definitely not worth the risk of losing Hutch, Gibbs, or Laporta, or Jamo, or you get the point. It's the truth. $47 million, you could sign Branch, Laporta, and Gibbs for that. I mean, come on. When you're talking about multi-year deals and what you're going to be hit up with, maybe you'd be able to sign at least 2 of those guys for that. Receivers are getting pretty damn expensive, so I don't know. I don't know about if we can get Jamo in there. But it's like, I want my guys. I want Branch. I'd rather have Branch over Parsons straight up. We're talking about like a guy that doesn't cause any trouble off of the field, doesn't make any noise, doesn't make it about himself at all. He works hard, and he's one of the best players at his position. I mean, and he's been here. Like the people that thought about giving up picks and Brian Branch for Micah Parsons, you're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. Brian Branch is so good, he's like a defensive player of the year type of candidate. I don't care what position you play. When you impact the game like that, you're crazy to want to trade Jack Campbell for Micah Parsons. I mean, you're talking about bringing a guy in that you got to pay right now. Oh yeah, not only do you have to trade everything you got for him, but you got to make me. I'm the highest paid player. $7 million over Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt. Now, Micah Parsons is good, but he ain't better than either one of those guys. He's not better than T.J. Watt. He's not better than Trey Hendrickson. He's not better than Aiden Hutchinson. But he wanted to get that $7 million. You know what? Get your money. Get your money. I ain't going to hate on anybody for going and getting as much money as they can get. But walking right into that situation with Green Bay, he don't give a damn about Green Bay either. He walk in there and get $7 million over the highest guy. You think Hutchinson's going to get that? You think that he'll go over and get 50? Or do you think Hutchinson will structure his contract around where Myles Garrett's is? Because just because the one guy hit it, that's a great question, by the way. Will Hutchinson get more money than Micah Parsons? So Detroit Fan Man says Michael Parsons needs a back autonomy. Curious why this comment. I don't know. Did that do something? Paul Jones says it would be hilarious if Davin Poop plays more games than Parsons. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Omar's in the house. He says, Chicago up, Bear down. What's good, Russell? It's been a minute. Good to see you in here, Omar. I love seeing the rival fan base in there. How confident are you feeling with the Ben Johnson-led Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams? Will Ben Johnson be the quarterback whisperer? They definitely brought in the playmakers. You got two good tight ends. I mean, on paper, you're looking at what Chicago did, and you like that. But like I was saying earlier, is when your team gets good enough where you really feel like, if you really feel like your team is in a Super Bowl window, then you're not worried about what other teams do. You know? Like, it don't matter if a team goes out and grabs the best player, because you have the best players. And it is ironic that it is Micah Parsons that goes to Green Bay, and it's like Aiden Hutchinson is, you know, that's our Micah Parsons, right? That's our guy. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Omar said he's very confident with these Chicago Bears. I give you the credit. A couple of years ago, I was talking about how I thought that the power structure of the NFC North was going to change. And I thought that at the end of the day, when the smoke all settles and everybody had done their things and they're making their moves, like 3 years from now, it's going to be Chicago and Detroit battling it out, you know, on the top, and the other two teams. And this move right here that Green Bay made, they may love it this year, but my prediction is Green Bay is going. The fans are going to turn on this trade. They think that they're going to get a Super Bowl out of it. What do you think about that? Green Bay fans saying this is like Reggie White. This is shades of Reggie White. Now it's a foregone conclusion. Green Bay made the move. They went all in. The Lions were too soft. They couldn't pull it off, but Green Bay did it, and this was the move, and there it is. They're winning the Super Bowl for the next 4 years. That's what Green Bay fan thinks. And I think that's hilarious to me. I think they're going to regret this trade, maybe even year one. From what it's sounding like, he's already not available. So I don't care that they got him. I'm not mad that they got him. I know that Penei Sewell is just licking his chops like any other defensive lineman. He'll handle him. The Lions will handle him. He's just got a guy. Michael Orlando says that Parsons will play 8 games and Davenport will play 11. Woo! That's a bold statement right there, brother. Oh no, I do remember Half Baked the movie, but I haven't seen it in so long. If I watched Half Baked, I would probably be watching it again like it was brand new, because it's been so long since I've seen it. Omar says it's not about QB over here in Chicago. It's about the whole team. So far, Ben hasn't put up with no BS. No BS, Ben. That's good. That's what you want. Here's a question for you out there. Out of the coordinators, this is a bonus question for the Villain Report today, because I know that we're going a little bit over. Which coordinator is going to be the more successful coordinator? Is it going to be Aaron Glenn with Justin Fields out in New York land? Or is it going to be Ben Johnson in Chicago with all of that talent on paper? This isn't the first time that Chicago's been talented on paper. And hiring coordinators, Ben Johnson's a great coordinator. He was a great offensive coordinator. The question is, can he be a good head coach? Orlando, Mark says that he'd take AG over Ben Johnson. The bad guy, what? I think Johnny says that I think Ben Johnson has a better chance in Chicago because he gets what it takes to build a winner versus Glenn, who thinks he knows it the best. Ooh, I like that. That's a good take. I'm sure we're going to hit that up tonight. Yeah, I think that as far as opportunity goes, I mean, Aaron Glenn comes off to me like that. It is. He feels like he's the one that knows it all. And Ben Johnson is a perfectionist. And, you know, I feel like he's the kind of guy that would make you do it until it was perfect. So I would have to go with Ben Johnson myself. I think Ben Johnson, he talked about when he had a head coaching opportunity from the year before, how he didn't want to take a job unless he knew that he could do it. So, you know, he took more time to learn. And I think that shows poise, and it shows that he's, you know, willing to take the steps and do the baby steps and really try to take it in and give himself the best chance, because most new head coaches fail. And Ben Johnson knew that going into it, and he wanted to make sure that his opportunity was right. And he took a whole extra year to do it. So, it's a good spot for Ben Johnson to be in there with the Caleb Williams thing. Because is Caleb Williams going to be a good quarterback or not? That's the big question. And since it's just his second year, Caleb Williams, if he starts to falter and not play well, the Bears still have the opportunity to trade a contract. They could trade Caleb Williams if he starts floundering. They would still be able to get really good value out of him because somebody would take a chance on the young talent if it didn't work out. So you got kind of a built-in fail-safe right there too with Caleb Williams. And it doesn't have to be about Ben Johnson, not getting his quarterback, because that ends up being a thing sometimes. Because if the Caleb thing doesn't work out, the first thing that's going to go is the quarterback. And I'm not saying that Caleb isn't talented. I think Caleb's going to be, he could be a fine quarterback in the NFL. But Ben Johnson, his success came from a quick decision type of offense where receivers and spacing and throwing balls into not necessarily throwing people open, but throwing to spaces before wide receivers are there and putting trust into route running. And that's not the same as drop back and, read one, read two type of stuff. So if it doesn't work out with Caleb Williams in Chicago, I don't think it's because Caleb Williams can't play quarterback or because Ben Johnson can't coach. It would be because they don't mix their type. Can Caleb Williams be that drop back and make your decision right now? That's the question with Caleb Williams. Because honestly, at that right there, your backup quarterback, Tyson Bagent, to me, is more suited for that type of play, making the decision, like working with a Ben Johnson. That is it seems to be like more of a Bagent type of thing. Caleb seems more like the guy that drops back if some stuff can happen. He can get outside of the pocket. He can extend plays, and outside of the confines of the Ben Johnson offensive scheme. And I don't know if Ben Johnson necessarily likes that. And they've had some oil and water moments during this offseason. But like I said, this is only his second year, and he could still go either way with that because the team's still young. Paul Jones says, BJ had the luxury of the best running back duo in the league. That's true. Ben had the players here, and they had it working here. And like I'd said earlier, when you got an offensive line that's blocking for you like that, that helps your plays work. I mean, I would think that any offensive coordinator that would come to Detroit would be licking their chops to play here. It's like, man, I can say halfback dive and it works with this offensive line. Broski's missing my point. He's all in his feelings in there. Pay no attention to that. He's not understanding what I'm saying. There's a difference. It's not about being able to just make the read. It's about, in Ben Johnson's offense, when it was here, I don't know if it's going to be the same there, but you have to be able to throw the ball to places, not necessarily making reads. Quarterbacks can make reads. Your Lamar Jacksons can make reads. Caleb Williams can make reads. You can make reads. Broski's in trigger mode. He's completely triggered in there. No, you can make reads to throw at wide receivers. You're making reads, but Ben Johnson's offense throws to spaces. Sometimes you have to put trust in that a route is going to be ran. You got to throw it here before the guy even makes his break. That's fact. It's just a different type of offense. I'm not even shitting on Ben Johnson. I don't care that he went to Chicago. Like I talked about earlier, it's not like Micah Parsons isn't going to make a bit of difference on the Lions' plan going forward. Ben Johnson being in Chicago doesn't make a lick of difference, because in order to get to the Super Bowl, you have to go through the good teams. And if the Bears are a good team, then the Lions are going to have to play all of those players. And if you're a good team and you're expecting to be in the Super Bowl, then you have to beat those good players. So you shouldn't be scared of anything. There's nothing that's out of reach. So I think that I think this thing can work out in Chicago, and I do believe that it's going to be the Lions in Chicago 3-4 years down the road battling it out for this division. Now, the other part is the JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. That's another play where you're dropping a quarterback in there, and you got all these other playmakers that are out there. And can you just drop JJ McCarthy in there? Can he just run the offense? So when it comes to the Vikings, it depends on if JJ McCarthy can play at the level that Sam Darnold did. And before you poo-poo that, you got to realize that Sam Darnold played really well last year. So I'm not saying JJ McCarthy can't play well too, but I'm saying to expect JJ McCarthy to be better than Sam Darnold was is you might have to check yourself, because the floor of that is over 4,000 yards, a whole bunch of touchdowns. Sam Darnold played out of his mind last year. So it's not necessarily JJ McCarthy versus Sam Darnold, just that. It's brand new JJ McCarthy versus the best version that Sam Darnold's ever been in his life. And that's the floor. That's the floor. So if you're expecting JJ McCarthy just to be as good as what Sam Darnold was last year, then that's a high floor. That's a high floor. I'm not saying that he can't beat, but I think that's a high floor. And especially year one, I don't think that he's going to have as good of a year in his first year that Sam Darnold did last year. I think the Vikings are going to go backwards a little bit. They're going to come down a couple of pegs when it comes with that. Changing quarterbacks isn't easy. Changing quarterbacks is way harder than changing a couple coordinators when you have great players already. But I can be wrong, I can be wrong, and that's why I come on here every day. I put my opinion out here, and I eat my crow when I'm wrong. But there's a lot of times I'm right more than I'm wrong. I think, for the most part. So yeah, I love it. But you know what? We gotta show some grace for Broski in the comments here, because I'm talking about his team. It's only fair that he can come in and have his opinions on top of the team. He don't like what I'm saying. He doesn't understand what I'm saying. That's okay. You could just watch a little bit of football outside of your own team, and you'll see that offenses play differently. That's why I thought it was dumb to say, like, when a couple of years ago when Lamar Jackson was supposedly available, everyone's like, "Oh, the Lions should go get Lamar Jackson." It's like, no, they shouldn't. It's like, I mean, you can build a brand new offense around him. That's fine. I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson isn't more talented or whatever, but he's way different than Jared Goff, right? You get this offense set into where it's like this read offense. Lamar Jackson doesn't play like Jared Goff. They build their offense around, his running and style. I'm not saying that the Lions couldn't have done that at that time, but you don't need to, change that different style. I think that Caleb Williams plays more of that style. If you want to look at where I think Caleb Williams could be, watch the Lamar Jackson. And if Ben Johnson's smart, he's not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Like, if he's the quarterback whisperer that he says that he is, he's the one that resurrected Jared Goff's career. If he's that quarterback whisperer, then you're going to build your offense around Caleb's skill set, not build Caleb around Ben Johnson's offense. And you can say that he did that. He did that in Detroit. Now in Chicago, Caleb Williams, he may design a completely different type of offense around Caleb Williams' skill set. And that's a beautiful thing about, like, if you're not only watching Lions training camp and you actually go and look at what some of the other teams are doing, the beauty about having a brand new coordinator is you have no idea what type of offense it's going to be. No one's ever seen the offense before. Could be wrinkles. I mean, Caleb Williams might be the very first 4,000-yard passer for that franchise. And it's been done before to where teams can go from worst to first. It happens every year. So is it possible that Ben Johnson hits the ground running? Yeah, it's definitely possible. Now this division, that's a hard. I think, like, even if everything hits right for the Bears or the Packers or the Vikings, even if everything hits right, the Lions are still going to be a tough game. Even if your team is a top 5 team in the NFL, you're still going to have to go through the Lions. It is what it is. The Lions are talented, and there's no reason to think that they can't win double-digit games again. So Villain's going to leave you. I've been on here running my mouth. This has been the Lion Villain Report. I'm going to give you kind of my final thoughts, and then I'm going to let you go. The Detroit Lions are no longer underdogs. They are the hunted. Jared Goff has the bag, and the Goffense is locked. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still the sun god. J-Mo is ready to be Sonic. Isaac Tesla may have one of the best opportunities in the NFL because no one's looking at him. He's just a 6'4", really fast guy running down the middle with nobody covering him. In the backfield, Gibbs and Monty, you're talking about punishment and speed. An offensive line with the best offensive line coach in the NFL, built to break souls. And Sewell is entering full bully mode. And rookie Tate Ratledge is ready to wreck shop. Defensively, Aiden Hutchinson hunting 20 sacks. Brian Branch looks like the best safety in the NFL. And the secondary stacked. Arnold, Robertson, DJ Reed, and don't forget about Dan Campbell. My prediction, double-digit wins. The North stays in Detroit. Playoff football in January is running through the 3-1-3. This is the year the Lions go from contender to powerhouse. This is the Villain Report, and the season starts now.